Good evening and welcome to the Guilderland Central School District's Board of Education meeting. Tonight is March 10th. Can everyone please silence their cell phones and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and we'll start with our high school student representatives.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for your time. My name is Parth Sarecha, and I'm the Student Government Liaison to the Board of Education. As always, it's such an honor to be here tonight and such an honor to see so many people out here today. So to start off, student government is still in the midst of planning our student leadership conference, and we're wrapping up planning for that because it's rapidly approaching in the next 2 weeks, March 26th. So that's going to come very, very soon, and our theme for this student leadership conference is building bridges through connections and collaboration. So we have another meeting on Thursday to finalize planning, so we'll keep you updated as to how it's going, what we plan on doing, and how the actual event itself goes. Some of the schools that have RSVP'd for this event include Saratoga Springs, Mahonison, Columbia, Averill Park, and many, many more. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. Next up, the Guilderland Players will present their spring musical this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The musical is always so amazing, and I'm really excited to see how it goes this year, especially because the musical this year is Frozen. I'm really excited to see how this goes because the pit orchestra and the actual players themselves have been doing such an amazing job practicing over the past couple of months. Even today on the nice weather, they were inside practicing, ready to give us a great show. And even in the cold winter months, they were on stage performing and practicing. And the cold never really bothered them anyway. Next up, spring sports started officially yesterday, and spring sports include many things such as track and field and boys tennis. I can't wait for another great season for the Guilderland Dutchmen, and it's kind of hard to believe that we're already out of the winter season for sports. Also, the pre-ACT is coming up on March 28th. Now, the pre-ACT is something that students can sign up for, and it essentially has no impact on what college they get into. Colleges cannot see the pre-ACT. It's just for the students themselves to get a feel of what the ACT is like, what the style is, and whether or not they prefer that over the SAT itself. It's a really great way to get to know the exam and decide whether or not you want to take it. Next up, Friday, March 13th is when the third quarter interim reports will be available. Last week, our interim period ended, which meant that it marked the halfway point of the quarter, which is kind of hard to believe. We're already halfway through third quarter. And those interim reports will be coming out on Friday, March 13th. So in 3 days, actually. Also, the SAT is going to be on March 14th, this Saturday. Guilderland is going to be hosting this SAT right here for students to be able to take, and the SAT is a really big event, so I really wish good luck to all those students taking it. Finally, the cultural fair will be coming up on April 2nd, the day before April break, and I'm really excited to see how it goes because the cultural fair is always one of the biggest events at Guilderland High School and always one of the most widely and greatly received. I won't expand on it too much because I've said it in the past as well, but students are going to be preparing performances, booths, and so much more. So I'll keep you updated to see how that goes. That's all from me today. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Okay. Thank you, Parth. And we'll roll into public comment. Should we do public comment, or maybe we can go out of order and begin with the athletes? Okay, I'd like to change it a little because we have so many parents here. Why don't we jump in, Dave Austin, to the showcase of students.
Hi, everybody. Tonight, I wanted to recognize any team sectional champions from this past winter season, New York State qualifiers from the winter season, and we do have some New York State champions in the house tonight from the winter season. So, as always, the athletes you're going to see tonight are some of the best in their sports in Section 2 and some of the best in New York State, and we want to celebrate that. I'll start with just a brief message to our athletes and coaches. We're extremely proud of what you have accomplished. In the Suburban Council, Section 2, and throughout New York State, the level of competition is incredibly high. To compete and succeed at that level requires tremendous dedication. Your performances this winter are a reflection of the strength of Guilderland athletics and the culture of excellence that continues to define our program. So I'm going to read some of our highlights from the winter, and as I call you up, athletes and coaches, I'd ask you to come up and stand to my left while we recognize you. And we will start with Nordic ski led by coaches Brigham McCutcheon and Kyle Kapazinski. And if we have Andre Flynn and Christian Hurst, come on up. Yeah, that's fine. GHS Nordic Ski sent 2 athletes to states this season. After qualifying at sectionals, Andre Flynn and Christian Hurst earned a trip to Bristol Mountain in Rochester to compete in the individual 7.5K state race and 3x3K classic relay. Andre and Christian did well in both races and admirably represented Section 2 at the state meet. This experience has given them the hunger to return to states next year and to compete on the World Cup course at Lake Placid. Congratulations to Andre, Christian, and coaches. Well done. We'll do a picture at the end if you want to stick around for that. Okay, nice job. Next, I'd like to call up, we've got a couple gymnasts here. So with Simona Scavio and Hasika Donapudi and their coaches, Kira Stevenson and Kristen McNeely are here. Come on up. At gymnastics sectionals, Simona Scavio represented her team with a 5th place performance on beam and a 6th place performance on floor. This qualified Simona to compete beam and be an alternate for floor at the state championship meet. Hasika Donapudi held her own as a 9th grader, earning 7th place on bars at sectionals. This gave Hasika the opportunity to join the state team at the state championship meet as an alternate on bars. Congratulations, Simona, Hasika, and coaches. Well done. And we're going to shift to bowling. Come on up, EJ Tabor and head coach Fred Lesser. Prior to getting into EJ's postseason success, I would be remiss if I didn't share a couple of EJ's special accomplishments in the regular season. Towards the end of the regular season, EJ rolled a perfect 300 game versus Colony, which is not something you see often in bowling, or high school bowling. At that point in the season, it was only the 2nd perfect game in the Suburban Council that entire winter season. But EJ was not done. Not even a week later, EJ rolled another perfect 300 game against Columbia. 2 perfect games in less than a week. And you can see Coach Lesser's got something for him. So to commemorate this accomplishment, Coach has something he wants to give EJ. He's got a couple very cool looking bowling pins that are going to go in the trophy cabinet, which is pretty cool. And in the postseason, EJ had an incredible day of bowling at sectionals at Boulevard Bowl. He ranked 3rd in individual scores overall over the 6 games on that day. With this placement, EJ qualified to bowl in the NISFA Boys Individual Championship team, which will take place this weekend, correct? Yeah, March 14th in Syracuse. So congratulations and best of luck to EJ at the state tournament and Coach Lesser on a successful season. Excellent job, guys. Next up, we have a couple boys wrestlers, Abdu Berea and Cody Dott. Come on up with your coaches, JP Hulslander and Donnie Favreau, if he's here. I'll start with Abdu. Abdu's a senior. He placed 2nd at the Section 2 state qualifier, which earned him an automatic bid in the NISFA wrestling tournament just down the road at the MVP Arena. On the first day of the state tournament, Abdu achieved a major milestone, 100th career victory, and he advanced to the 2nd day with a shot at the podium. While we came up short in our first match on day 2, it does not take away from everything he's accomplished. He graduates as one of the most decorated wrestlers in Guilderland wrestling history. His dedication, work ethic, and leadership have left a lasting mark on the program. We're incredibly proud of everything he's achieved, both on and off the mat. Congratulations to Abdu. Cody Dott's only in 8th grade, by the way. I'm going to say that a couple times, I think, because it's impressive. Placed second at the Section 2 state qualifier, earning an automatic bid to the NISFA Division I Wrestling Tournament at MVP Arena. In the semifinals, Cody defeated an opponent who had beaten him previously just the week before, which is a testament to his growth, determination, and his competitive mindset. As an 8th grader, Cody made history by becoming the first 8th grader in Guilderland wrestling history to qualify for the state tournament. He finished the season with an outstanding 40-7 varsity record. We're incredibly proud of Cody's accomplishments this season and look forward to the bright future ahead for him in the Guilderland wrestling program. Congratulations, Abdu, Cody, and coaches on a great season. And last but not least, let's bring up our indoor boys and girls track and field teams led by coaches Chris Scanlon and Dave Kozier. Come on up, this is a big group. And I'm going to start with the boys, and I just politely ask that because it's a large group, we hold our applause till we complete the entire boys' announcements. And boys, boys and girls, when I call your names, if you just step forward and kind of wave so we can kind of see who you are and recognize you, that would be awesome, all right? Let's start with Langston Threet. Langston was the sectional champion in the 55-meter hurdles. I don't think he was here tonight, but still quite the accomplishment for Langston. Octavius Flowers, Paulie Russell, Langston Threet, and Jack Larson qualified for the state championship meet in the 4x200 relay, where they placed 16th in the Division I final. Jack Larson, who's not here, I don't believe, but we're still going to celebrate Jack. Jack was the sectional champion in the 300-meter dash. He also qualified for the state championship meet in that event and placed 5th in the states and federations. Jack also qualified for the state meet in the long jump and placed 6th in the state and federation. So how about a round of applause for our boys indoor track and field athletes for their accolades this winter. And now we'll do the same for the girls. We'll have you step forward when I call your name, give us a wave, and we ask that you kind of hold the applause until I finish the announcements for the girls. Fiona McCarthy, if you're here, give a wave. Fiona qualified for the state championship meet in the 55-meter dash and finished 28th overall. Tara Iyer, if you're here, step forward. She qualified for the state championship meet in the 3,000-meter, becoming the first Guilderland girl ever to qualify for the state championship meet in that event. She placed 25th. Ari Mills qualified for the state championship meet in the long jump and placed 16th overall. Callie Del Pazzo qualified for the state championship meet in the weight throw, and she placed 12th overall. Braylon Cornell qualified for the state championship meet in the 1,000 meter, where she placed 13th. Fiona McCarthy, Abby Mullen, Chastity Watson, and Lauren Hickey were the sectional champions in the 4x200 meter relay. Lauren Bernash, Kara Whiteside, Lauren Hickey, and Addison Velacoop were the sectional champions in the 4x400 relay. Julia Beyer, Lily Hubbard, Natalie Dodge, and Danica Kozier were sectional champions in the 4x800 meter relay. Lauren Bernash qualified for the state championship meet in the 300 meter dash, where she placed 4th in the state and 6th in the federation. Fiona McCarthy, Parker Steele, Chastity Watson, and Lauren Hickey qualified for the state championship meet in the 4x200 relay and placed 4th in the Division I state final. Fiona McCarthy, Grace Kachadurian, Chastity Watson, and Abby Mullen competed in the federation finals of the 4x200 relay at the state meet and placed 8th. Julia Beyer, Danica Kozier, Braylon Cornell, and Addison Velacoop qualified for the state championship meet in the 4x800 relay and placed 4th in the state and 6th in the federation. Parker Steele was the sectional champion in the 55-meter hurdles. She also qualified for the state championship meet in that event, where she placed 4th in both the state and federation. And Addison Velacoop was the sectional champion in the 600-meter and the 1,000-meter. At state, she ran the 600-meter and placed 3rd in a loaded field in both the New York State and Federation races. Round of applause for those individuals before we get to a couple more announcements for girls track. I'd like to talk just briefly about the team. The Gilliland girls indoor track team were Section 2 champions for the 4th year in a row. It was a true team championship. They scored a total of 152 points and scored points in 15 out of the 16 events. Overall, they had 6 event champions and earned sectional patches in 13 events. This is the 7th consecutive sectional championship for Gilliland indoor and outdoor track and field program. I'm literally running out of space for sectional plaques in our hallway, and they're a large reason why. 7 in a row. So it's just a dominant performance. I've said that the last 7 board meetings I've been at, recognizing you guys, but round of applause for our amazing girls indoor track and field team. And this doesn't happen often. I've got one more announcement. We want to recognize a truly incredible achievement. Gilliland girls 4x400 relay team of Lauren Bernash, Parker Steele, Lauren Hickey, and Addison Velicoop broke the school record and crossed the finish line in first place at the state championship meet with a time of 3 minutes and 54 seconds to earn the title of New York State Champions. Congratulations to these outstanding student athletes and their coaches on an incredible season, state champions. Well done. And we always try and do a picture. I think just we'll do this quick, but we're going to have our athletes and coaches. What do you want? Do you want to go over there, or do you want them to come here?
Maybe it's easier if the board goes to you. What do you
Okay,
think to them?
we can do that.
Senator Fahy, would you like to join us for the photograph?
Oh, cool. Girls track, you're up here, and boys track, you're up here. So we'll do a track picture first, and then we'll get the rest of our sports. I think it'll work better if we kind of break it up. All right? Okay, track out. Everybody else, come on up. Yeah, we got one more. This is a little bit smaller group, so we can tighten it up a little bit. Ski, wrestling, come on, gymnastics, come on. Bowling. Yeah, the guys in the front, just say squat a little bit. Got everybody tightened up? Gymnastics.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
We have a very special guest, Senator Fahy. If you'd like to take the microphone now, you are welcome to do so.
It was so fun, and I lived there.
I don't know if you heard me. Didn't hear you. Pat, would you like to take the microphone now? Great. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Perfect, thank you.
I don't think you have anything to do with the contractual.
That's okay.
We'll share.
Let's look at it and see what it says. That's has anything to do with your. Thank you.
Sorry, I do not have enough copies. I'm so used to not having a big audience since I forget. And you always have great turns. So my apologies.
It's okay.
Thank you. This is really a hard act to follow, and I love sports, and if I had a magic wand, every child would stay after school for something, whether sports, robotics, any science club, yearbook club, whatever it is. But I would love to see more of this. It just teaches the children so much, not just teamwork. Obviously, the sports are good for mind and body. But anyway, it was a hard act to follow, and it sent me down memory lane. My daughter did 4x400 and a whole host of track and field, and both my kids ran track and cross country. So it's just really, really exceptional accomplishments from all the students on all the sports. So you have a lot to be proud of. Thank you for making time for me. And myself and Gabriela Romero are still relatively new assemblywoman. At the last, we have a lot of scheduling conflicts with the budget. And at the last minute, she was going to join me and literally had a flat tire on the way over. She is fine. She called AAA because otherwise I was going to run to get her. But she is good, and so really wants to send her regards and thank you for giving us this time. I know you have long nights ahead of you, but just late last night, we finalized what is called the One House budget. What I passed out, however, is just a quick summary with just a couple of highlights of what was in the governor's proposal. So I'm just going to run through it, and I know I don't hit every issue that is of interest, but I'd just like to join you each year, if at all possible, and a belated public congrats, Superintendent. It's still nice to see you. I still think of you as new, even though I know it's been quite a while now. But I, again, appreciate this time. So I now have about 15 or 20 school districts that I represent, because I now cover, in the Senate, I cover most of Albany County, most of Schenectady County, and all of Montgomery County. And I have a number of school districts that only receive the 1% increase. We are doing better than that with the Assembly and Senate budget, so I think, which will lift all the numbers. So what you're seeing here, as you know, you did get about a 6% increase. We've increased 4.3% overall, but I still anticipate those numbers will go up, because there was an effort to go higher than the 1% floor in the governor's proposal. As you know, every year the budget is very, very fluid, so it's never over till it's over. But this is something where education, thankfully, is something that continues to have tremendous bipartisan support. So I do think we'll see an increase there. So, and for me, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but for me, the single best news, I think, in the education budget is the increase in pre-K. It's just been nothing short of extraordinary to see those huge double digits. I have one district where it was even, I think it was almost an 80% increase. Just shocking in terms of the numbers. And I know this is a district that has worked for years to expand kindergarten, initially going from part-time to full day, and would love to hear more from you on how that will impact you. But for me, this has been a multi-year effort. As you know, I live in Albany, and they were one of the early adopters of pre-K. It was really hard to explain this to people when we would give all these millions to pre-K each year and explain that districts were all over the map with getting $4,300 per child, $7,800. I mean, we were just all over the map, all over the state. So to see this floor, essentially a floor of 10,000, with some even getting a little bit more, is really just gratifying, truly gratifying. And as you know, there's a tremendous effort underway to do even more than that with 3K, and those are still being debated, but certainly we'll be doing that in the city of New York. I'd like to see more of that up here, so we will continue to advocate, and it will just be a matter of how far the dollars stretch. But there is definitely the will, as well as you know, in the city to go to 2K and childcare and more. So that was just the great news. Another big increase on the universal school meals. This is something I don't think I ever anticipated. I've always been one to fight for after school funding, so I felt like we were a little bit in competition some years because I've been very outspoken about after school funding. And so when we were ramping up to do more on free lunch, I went, wait, after school. But now that we've done it, it has really turned into just one of the most popular programs across the board in all my districts, urban, suburban, rural. Again, welcome the feedback, but we think it's just been very gratifying to see that the districts have fully embraced this and that it seems to the parents and more. So I've just, well, I still regret that we have not done more on after-school programs. In fact, one of my districts, the formula change affected them so that they don't get any funding now. They used to be a qualifier for after-school funding, and that has changed. So we've got a lot of work to do there, but one step at a time with pre-K and more. I also will say, I think I'm in my 14th year. I think for 12 of those years, I have sponsored legislation on pre-K transportation. It is in the Senate, one House. I think Senator Mayer, the chair of the Education Committee, has probably gotten tired of me talking about it. But it is there. Whether it survives is another matter because, as you know, pre-K transportation is very expensive, so we have not pushed that. But I'm very gratified that we still have tremendous support. It's in the proposal. We will see how far we get. There is an issue there because our start date is so much later than most other states. Our start date of kindergarten, the vast majority of states have a September 1st cutoff. We don't. So you have a lot of late birthdays, those that are almost turning 4, but they get that pre-K slot. So they need the booster seat or some type of child seat. So I think a lot of districts, even if we got the funding tomorrow, I worry a lot of districts may not take it up just because you need more staff, you need those booster seats. It just, I also carry legislation. I do think we should, I'd like to see us really reevaluate and change the start date such that we are consistent with other states, because often parents in the know redshirt their children. And so we have ages all over the map with those who are almost turning 5, those who are still 3.5. We're just all over the map on ages, but that's would love to talk more about that down the road. A couple of other things where the governor is continuing to encourage more on literacy and math. Additional funding is going in on that. We did adopt legislation last year on the science of reading. There's another bill on that that's gotten a lot of interest and support, not just here but nationally, and more to continue on, more to come on that. Also, some tutoring. There is additional funding for the teacher pipeline. This continues to be a huge issue, especially in the maths, the foreign languages, and I welcome your feedback on this. I'm trying to go fast because I really welcome your questions and welcome your feedback. Every district is different, but we know we continue to have a teacher pipeline issue. I will say, I know there's support and there's some concerns, but for now, we have received a lot of support for increasing the pay for the retired teachers from $35,000 to $50,000 so that we can hire back the retired teachers, particularly in these hard-to-fill slots. So that did get in the Senate one House to increase that retirement pay. Sorry, that just happened. We're just getting the details on the one House today, so it's not in this cheat sheet. I hope that that's welcome news here in a number of my districts. There's been a real interest in that. I know there have been some concerns about it, but I do think we need that flexibility, and there are a lot of retired teachers that are interested. So right now, that is in to go from 35,000 to 50,000. Zero emission buses. As somebody who actually sponsored legislation on this in 2018 to adopt EV buses, school buses, I get it. It was 2018, it was pre-COVID, it was pre the invasion of Ukraine, which made a major upheaval in the international energy market. We've just had another upheaval with the invasion of Iran. The technology has not been there, the infrastructure is not there, and the cost has still not come down to anything that we'd hope. We are putting in more funding, at least in the Senate one house. I'm not quite as familiar in the Assembly's one house just yet. More funding. We are also looking for more flexibility. I know many districts have done all the right things. Taconic Hills, I don't represent them, but they were at a BOCES forum. They did everything right, bought 10 buses. Every one of those buses were sidelined virtually the entire month of January because of the freezing weather. So I get it. I'm actually frustrated that we're not doing more to respond here, because I do think you need the flexibility. And this was well intended. I don't think we could have anticipated all of the extraordinary challenges. And I say that as somebody who would like us to do more. But as you know, we're slipping. We have not been able to keep up with a lot of the changes in the transportation industry right across the board with EVs. So we still need to do more, but we absolutely need that flexibility. Absenteeism, I carry a couple of bills on this. One, we just need more public attention to it. I'm working with Senator Skoufis, Assemblywoman Gabriela Romero, and Assemblymember John McDonald, among others, on absenteeism. As you know, this state, let alone this country, had made great inroads on really addressing absenteeism. The culture was, you are in school 5 days a week. All of that seemed to have just upended, if you will, during COVID. And it's been really hard to get those numbers back down. That's not everyone, and please feel free to update me on that. But we are continuing to see serious challenges. I've met with 3 different superintendents groups, and I practically had a room full of superintendents jump out of their seats when I mentioned it at one of them, given some of the frustrations that they have had, that we don't have enough, as they would say, teeth in the law when they do have challenging situations, especially when they have parents that are not as responsive to the school district, or deciding to homeschool the child and not being as responsive to the superintendents when they are checking. And again, not trying to pick on homeschooling. I get that is a parent's right, and I respect that. But we are running into some real issues there. And we've had some conversations, a number of them with, a few with the county, Albany County, working with some others, and got to really go back with OCFS as well on the Child Protective Services. My understanding is they will no longer take calls on absenteeism. And so we have a lot of unpacking to do there. Right now, one bill is to just give more attention to this with a dashboard. The other is to give more incentive dollars to encourage groups working with the counties, working with the social workers, working across the board to address absenteeism. I will stop there. And I know you always have a very packed agenda, so if there is time, I welcome the comments on any of this and anything that I may have missed, or questions, please.
Meredith?
So one thing that we've talked about the electric buses, that we think would actually create a data stream that could actually be used, is picking different districts across the state that, and this is coming from Andrew, by the way, to fully electrify those districts so we can actually test in those districts how a fully EV fleet would do, both with weather and with the financial aspect, rather than piecemealing it from across the state, so that we could actually test it in a district or multiple districts. Is that something that's been talked about, or something that you would be willing to talk about?
Happy to follow up with you on that. Right now, I carry legislation with Carrie Warner that also does a ratio, a calculation. We've also talked about just hybrid buses, CDTA, which I think is probably the best transit authority in the entire state. I used to just say upstate, but in so many ways, they really are one of the best transit authorities. They were the very first in all of upstate to buy electric buses. Even now, they have pivoted to buying the hybrid buses. Doesn't mean they're not running their electric buses, but it's become an economic issue. And what they do is what's referred to as geofencing. So when they are in more urban areas or in more congested areas, they make sure through the geofencing that they're using the electric energy. And then when they're in the more less densely populated areas, they're using the gas. So geofencing with hybrid buses is another approach. We've got a few things. I've talked to the transportation chair, and there's a few of us that want to get together, but happy to follow up on any of the ideas. Another member has also mentioned maybe some statewide bulk purchasing, because the price has just not come down to the way anybody anticipated. And before we go to questions, and you're good, I just want to quickly introduce Adrian Cummings, who graduated from Guilderland what year? 23, not that long ago, and he is an intern in my office from UAlbany. So, and also took some photos. I hope that's okay. And we've loved having him. So, very proud graduate, very proud UAlbany student, and who volunteered to come here tonight. I certainly don't ask our interns or fellows, or let alone my staff, to join me at night. So, thank you, Adrian.
Hi, Senator. Thank you for coming. I know, and thank you for looking at the teacher shortage and continuing to address that. In that conversation, there's been an ask for exploring stipends for student teachers to alleviate the financial hardship. Has that conversation continued or made it at all? And
You know, I walked up here without my pen, but we'll push that. I don't know where that is now. It certainly did not make it into the budget. Does somebody have legislation, please? I no longer am I'm on the higher ed committee, but not on the education committee. So do you know if that's been in a bill, or if anybody's,
I think I don't know if it's made it to a bill yet.
It's
I know
not a
there's
bill
been an
yet.
ask,
It's been an
though,
ask.
for it to be
I think the
looked
bill,
at.
the bill is being written now.
being written? Do you,
Yeah.
who do you expect is carrying it?
I don't know. I could text someone.
Okay,
and
we'll,
find out,
we'll,
and I
we have
can
time.
text you.
It's,
Okay.
it's not in the budget, but open to any ideas. We continue to have too much turnover, as you
Yeah.
probably know much better than I, and as well as the shortage, especially in, and again, I can get that from Albany. I was out in Fonda Fultonville a couple of weeks ago. So to my most rural districts, to the most urban. We're hearing it everywhere. So that is another issue that has just not let up since COVID. So happy to follow up and
Thank you.
see where we are. No, thank you.
We'll get that to you. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question about higher ed funding, SUNY CUNY, because it's just a mess out there. It was shared last night by a teacher from Buffalo State saying that they're reducing teaching classes at Buff State because they say people aren't interested in it. And they're losing funding like crazy. So I'm just curious, like, what is happening with funding? Is anything in the One House bill about funding for SUNY and CUNYs?
Well, SUNY and CUNY are doing quite well in the budget. It's a matter, and in the
Okay.
one houses. I'm
Oh, good. Okay.
former higher
Okay.
ed chair before I left the assembly. Very supportive, as you know, and
Yeah.
this was not mine. The governor proposed the free community college. It has
Yes,
been
yeah.
wildly successful,
Yeah.
and something I am continuing to push and
Okay.
promote. I just ran into the president of LaGuardia Community College, which is a CUNY college. They're up 10%. I mean,
great.
just extraordinary numbers. In teaching, you're right. We're not getting, across the board,
Yeah.
we are not getting the enrollment. I did carry the bill on the master's in teachers education to broaden the scholarship funding. That took, I don't know how many years, but we finally got that signed at the end of last year.
Okay, yeah.
And there are a couple of other proposals, but that's usually more for the masters. It's getting people engaged beforehand. I will say it's related, but not as directly related. The TAP funding, which is something we had really championed when I was on higher ed. The comptroller just issued another report about TAP, and it is not stretching. It's really not targeting some of our poorest students, and then those that are a little bit in that gap.
Yeah.
Very few students get the full $7,000. So I was actually just one of the other events tonight was with the SUNY chancellor, and I've sent them the report and said I'd like to turn on the tap again. So we're gonna go back at that.
Okay.
We did get a piece in the One House, a bill I carry about TAP funding for independent students. Those are ones who may be here without family. Some of our refugee students. It may be here those that are slightly older students and no longer considered dependent. So it would level the playing field. Right now, their income was $10,000. I think we got it up a little bit, and now we're trying to give complete parity. Again, it's in the One House.
Sure.
Whether that survives is
Okay.
a lot falls off the table. But we are continuing to go back at the funding. Teaching, I welcome the ideas.
Okay.
This is very difficult to turn around.
Yeah, okay.
Very difficult.
Thank you.
No, great question.
I have a question. Hi, do you see movement in the 2035 mandate happening with the EV buses?
Well, I will say I've talked to the environmental chair multiple times. I've talked to the transportation chair and talked to a few colleagues, upstate colleagues. It's not as much of an issue downstate, or in New York, because the students there often ride the subways, and it's not as difficult. We are trying. Yes, I think you will see more flexibility because it's just not changing. We did address it with, I think it's $100 million more for the garage, infrastructure and garages, or infrastructure. I'd have to go back, but we just added $100 million more. I will say I'm one who has been quite vocal to say it's more than funding. We just need that flexibility. I also just saw the NYSERDA president. So we have some work to do here. There is resistance. So if that is something you are looking for more flexibility on, I really urge you to talk to the school boards, superintendents association, principals associations, because they really, everyone's saying something a little bit differently. I met with the school boards yesterday, and they are looking for a repeal, and I don't know if we can get that might be just too ambitious. And I hesitate on that as well. But what I want is flexibility, including the hybrid buses, and more, some of the other things we just talked about. But I really urge you to keep pushing on that. It is just well intended. Again, it's something I supported. But where the technology is not there, the infrastructure, and then the costs have. And I'd like to see where we give more flexibility on the funding, such that if there's solar or a new boiler, things that would also increase efficiency, that we could give some flexibility there as well, because it's all about bringing down emissions. And if there's other ways to achieve the same goal, but that's just me. I'm not getting as much traction as I'd like on that.
Okay. All right,
So-
I think the concern is just the fact that this could bankrupt districts.
I
Like,
hear you, and
If
I.
we stay with 2035, especially with the mandates, with the grants that we had with the buses and the stipulations, I think that's the concern.
And for what it's worth, we have some districts that have just put it in a parking lot, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So they're just not doing it. And I used to, encourage at least making some plans, and I'm no longer encouraging that. So I just urge you to be as vocal as possible. I have literally handed out things from Taconic Hills, from Averill Park, districts I don't even represent. Bethlehem, which I now represent again, I had been redistricted out. Bethlehem was way ahead, did all the right things. The buses aren't running, so or were not running in the extreme weather. So it's actually been unfortunate, but we also could have never predicted some of the international, let alone the pandemic and other upheavals that have just. I don't think anybody would have predicted we'd be in this position at that point. So,
Rebecca? I just had a question about if there's anything pending in the legislature about fixing early intervention, the 0 to 3 program for children with disabilities. As you know, the earlier we can get services started, the better kindergarten outcomes are and long-term outcomes are, and it could reduce services needed in elementary school. And there's just been a significant shortage in providers and stagnant wages for years.
That has a terrible multiplier effect. It's every step of the way is getting squeezed, and it ends up with fewer and fewer providers. I know there is something in the budget. I don't want to misstate it, because these things, as we're getting briefed and as we're advocating, it changes every day, including, I think the language got filed well after midnight last night. There is something in the Senate one house to go at the rate. We will have to follow up on the early intervention and try to get back to you. But this has been a long-term battle. I actually don't fully understand why we have not been able to solve. We have solved so little of this, and it is. To me, it's absolutely essential that we have that early intervention, early identification of needs. So I more than get the policy rationale. I'm not sure why this has been so difficult to move the needle on that, but it is something I've been vocal on and will continue to support. I urge you to continue to, keep bringing that up as well. It's there's. Other than costs, which it's like pre-K transportation, in the end, it often falls off the table, but it does have solid support. So I think because it gets so complicated, and maybe that's a part of it, but I don't have another good reason on why this has been so difficult to move, given the extraordinary need. And the waiting lists actually scare me to hear how bad it is in certain areas, the waiting lists for identifying the children. I will say, Bill Getman, who runs Northern Rivers, there's a lot of groups. I'm the Senate Disabilities Chair, and he is working on some efforts to what they're calling cut the red tape in terms of testing. I don't know if it will help in here, but I'd like to think it will, with such that there's more collaboration across state agencies. But we are just starting that, and it will not be a part of the budget process. The rate change is, but not some of the requirements. And maybe if we can tackle that, it might help, because it is so labor intensive, and the state agencies are not as coordinated. So happy to talk more about that. It's not an easy one to solve, other than the funding, the rate change increase.
Well, one more? Okay, last one.
Sorry, so just a question about some of the different areas that have been mentioned, including early intervention, but also the absenteeism. And I see on the sheet here, there's mentions of some proposals, but I'm not clear as to what those are in this language. But I know there's been some talk, we've had some discussion about community schools and looking into that. And from what I know about it, it sounds like something like that might address a broad spectrum of areas. including absenteeism and including maybe early intervention depending on the need of the district. And it just seems like, would that be something, I guess if you could tell me some ideas that if that may have factored into some possible solutions for these different areas.
Community schools have been very popular, overall getting tremendous feedback, positive results. I represent a few of them, particularly in Albany. They were ahead of the game with a few schools. And that is one area where there is additional funding this year, and I don't want to misstate the amount, but there is a lot of support to increase it such that we can grow community schools. That is one of the areas that community schools can certainly help with addressing, right? Because when it's a community school, presumably you're working on a whole host of community and family needs, right? So that is definitely an area to pursue. Especially if it's done right, and especially where there's a multitude. I mean, mental health everywhere. I don't know why I didn't put it on this sheet, but if in our PowerPoint, we have a whole PowerPoint on the governor's budget. And there we talk a lot about the mental health needs, and that's one that every school district, again, is encountering, whether it's with the families, with the children, and more. Community schools is another way to try to address that. But the absenteeism, the two bills right now are really just to draw more attention to it. The dashboard that we're referring to is, while you and the superintendent may see daily absenteeism data, we in the public, what is published by state ed is now a year and a half old. So we see new data each May or June, and that data is from the school year before. So some of this is just getting the data. I'm a big believer what gets measured gets done. And some of this is just getting more information out there. So while the school districts themselves have terrific information, right? We don't, so it's hard to compare. And right now we're working with very old data. So that's one of them. The other one is to really work with a pilot, do some more pilot programs for motivated school districts that want to set up the absenteeism committees to work across the board.
Well, thank you so
And
much.
happy to send the bills, by the way, happy to send the legislation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and your advocacy and your accessibility.
Thank you. Thank you for the time, and appreciate the patience of everyone, including the students who probably didn't sign up to hear all of this. To be continued. It's just important to me to try to get here as often, at least once a year, if not, sometimes it's every couple of years. I'm trying to get to all my districts. And it's important to me to get here during budget season so that we are trying. And I really do appreciate the feedback on where we are, like what are the areas of biggest concerns, because again, different school districts do have different needs, and I really, most of you know how to find me, so always happy to respond individually, but I really encourage you, especially on a few of these issues that were mentioned, to continue to use your advocacy organizations to break through on some of these issues. And maybe this is for your students. The state budget is about 10 different bills, but it's thousands of pages. So, and at any given time, we have about 10,000 bills in play. So it's only 10 of those 10,000. So to say we're drinking from a fire hose is a complete understatement. So trying to shine a light on just even a few of these issues with the teacher shortage or early intervention, it is not easy. And so I welcome your advocacy. Thank you so much for all the time you've given me. And again, my regards from Gabriela Romero, our Assemblywoman. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think do you want to do robotics or public? Okay, let's do the showcase of students for Dutchman Robotics. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
Probably not supposed to touch this.
probably not supposed to touch this. Good evening, board. My name is Max Corbett. I took over for John Ball, the Robotics Club, which was actually Damian Singleton's idea back in 2015 or 16. The past 4 years, I've run it for 5 years. You guys get your stuff up. Bring it on over here.
Do you want to put it on?
Set
the
it right down
table?
there, Jacob. Right down there, right in the middle. That's perfect. So the last 4 years, all of our teams have qualified for states. We have 4 teams, about 34 students, give or take. This year, one of our teams won the Queensberry Championship. Gentlemen. There we go. And at the state championship, there were over 63 teams, and all 4 of our teams qualified for the state championship. And while there, one of our teams, this one, 5501X, took 3rd place at the state championship. We don't have all of our members here, but we have a number of them. So this year's game was to pick up game pieces and put them into various areas. We don't have a full game field, so we can't demonstrate everything. But if some of the students wanted to talk about some of the skills they learned this year doing the championship, maybe Mr. DeVarshi, since you are our vice president, or you can drive around.
Is it like soccer for robots?
Brian. So Brian's one of our freshmen. He joined our team this year, brand new. Hello, Brian.
Hello. I'd like to speak on the many things I've learned in robotics this year. I've learned the value of teamwork. I used to be a person who would do most of the group projects by themselves, and throughout the course of Robotics Club, I've learned that for every group project, you need to rely on your teammates to succeed. Just doing it yourself is no way to go forward. Here in school and further along in life. I've also learned the values of perseverance. Throughout the construction of a robot, our team met many challenges which we solved in creative ways, like repurposing scrap into functional parts. And this is a skill I believe that I can carry over to my schoolwork and to my life outside of school.
Well said, Brian. So the robots have to run for 2 minutes. The first 15 seconds they run autonomously, so the students have to design and build the robots from scratch with these pieces. They're only allowed the parts that the companies make, and they have to run 15 seconds autonomously to do a certain amount of work, and then it's a minute 45 of driver controlled, which they're doing now. They work with different motors. They have to code them by themselves, and they use Python or C++. They have 8 motors on them. They're powered with a computer and a battery. They also have pneumatics kits. Whose pneumatics work? Anybody's pneumatics work right now? Make it work. So they charge up air tanks, and then the pneumatics work different things. And then we went to 3 different championships this year, or qualifying matches, and the state championship. The students have many failures, many successes, and they have probably 150 hours since the end of September. We meet twice a week, including the competitions on Saturdays from September through, well, we're going to meet next Monday to take everything apart and have our end of the year celebration. And so did you want to talk, Mr. DeVarshi? One of our seniors, he's been in it since freshman year, so 4 years. Yep. Did you want to talk or no?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Devarshi Pandya, and I'm a senior from GHS. This year, I had the pleasure of leading Robotics Club as the president. We really appreciate your continued support for this club. Over my 4 years of experience in the club, I made innumerable connections with excellent engineers. We have worked together, brainstormed ideas, implemented them, and taken lessons from them. In 4 of my 3 years, my team qualified and competed at the state level against many other skilled teams from Northern New York. Together, in the midst of competition, we learned communication skills and adaptations. In these massive events, I've actively met and connected with people, some of whom I still talk to every week. The club doesn't just give me hands-on engineering experience, it helps me acquire a peer network that will support me throughout my life as I go on to become an engineer. The Robotics Club at GHS isn't just an engineering extracurricular, it is the engineering extracurricular. Thank you again for your time and support. I hope you really enjoy our show of robots this year, one of which, that one, acquired 3rd place at the state championship.
Oh, wonderful. Wow.
Thank you, board, for your time.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you want to grab your stuff? We'll bring it back down.
Congratulations, and this is
Do
very
you have any
impressive.
questions before we leave?
Wonderful.
All right, Jacob, go grab one of the things.
Are these like obstacles? Is that the idea?
So this year's game was they had to gather these. We had like 60 of these, and they had to put them in different levels to earn different points. And then there was also an area that they had to put the robot in at the end. You could stick an armature in and descore or rescore, and the game pieces go at various heights on the floor, 12 inches up or 16 inches up. So you had to design the robot to be able to
Oh, gotcha.
catch the balls and put them at different levels, and they're blue and red, so you have to use your team's color. And they work with an alliance with another team to work together against 2 other teams. So there's a lot of bashing and smashing with them. And each one of these is probably worth about $2,500 worth of parts.
Wow. Now, when you take them apart, do you recycle the pieces?
So every year we can reuse most of the parts, probably 95% of it. You're allowed to cut and bend metal, so the pieces that get cut we save, but every year a little bit of the metal gets thrown away. And of course, some of the parts, like the motors, do break from time to time.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations and job well done, and thank you, Mr. Corbett, for your guidance.
And they also fundraised about $3,200 this year to help buy new parts and pay for some of the parts.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, guys, grab some of your robots. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, should we do a picture? I know we're not that fancy, but if you'd like a picture.
You
Good.
want to come over here and do a picture, guys? Grab your robots, hold them up in the air, grab them shoulders. Get this cart out of here.
I think Dinesh and Vishnu wanted to do a public comment, or did they already? I had 2 about robotics, 2 public comments. Did anybody submit a blue form?
Anybody submit a blue form for public comments? I think some of the parents. I think some of the parents.
Okay, perfect.
Right? Yeah, there's some parents that did. Here, Jacob.
All right.
You can hold that. You can grab your robot. Hold that, man. Make that look cool.
Very cool.
There we go. Come on, get over here, Brian. You want to hold this or that? There you go. Look pretty. I'll end up on the website somewhere. You're gonna be okay. Look at the cameras. Everybody say winners. 1, 2, 3, winners.
Winners. Great. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, I'll take this little guy.
Okay, and we'll jump into the public comment. First, we have Vishnu. Okay, yep. Feel free to pull down the microphone.
Oh, I'm father of Om. He's a high schooler, and he has been going to Vex Robotics. He really loves to do robotics. The main motivation to come to school is robotics, and we wish we should have funding for to retain the teachers. And like from personal, we can collect as a parent all the students who are going for Vex Robotics to fund for the teachers.
Teachers, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we had another one about robotics. Ganesh.
Yeah, I'm again biased towards one of my kid is in robotics class.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I visited all the robotics competition. There's so much energy, so much talent there. All those kids, all those young kids playing there. It's incredible. It's a really competitive environment, and you have to see those people, like little ones going around, making all those moves, and all those teamworks. It's really incredible to see. I would really like this to continue those things, if money permits. Yeah,
Oh,
I know
wonderful.
how the thing works, but yeah, I would really express my.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would personally like to attend one of these at one point. So if there's a way the board could be notified, I think some of us would love to go.
The championship
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. I can.
Great.
I went to one in Queensbury. It was awesome.
You did go?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
She didn't invite us, but some of us would also like to.
I just happened to be there. It was for something else. It was great. It was really fun. I think it was 2 years ago.
Well, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
yes, should be very proud of your students. Thank you. Our next public comment is from Derek Koffs, and I hope I'm saying that okay.
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Good evening. My name is Derek Kopf. My wife and I have lived in the district for over 28 years. We have 2 boys, both of whom were graduated from Guilderland High School and attended the district from 1st through 12th grade. I have also been a teacher for 22 years, the last 12 of which were at Guilderland High School, where I have had the privilege of teaching social studies, including U.S. history, economics, and SUPA or college economics. I am also one of the advisors for the high school's Model United Nations program. The Model UN program is an academic program in which we typically take about 28 students to different Model UN programs about twice a year, which are hosted at various colleges. The Model United Nations is an academic program where students learn and practice high-level reading, writing, negotiation, team building. They also meet other strong academic students from all over the region and sometimes all over the world. We had a wait list of students who wanted to go this year. The point being, this is a strong and popular academic program. I am here regarding the upcoming budget discussions. However, I'm not here specifically to advocate for Model United Nations. I am here to advocate for programs desired by students that help them learn and grow. I believe in education. I believe education is important for each student. I believe we have a moral obligation to our students, the community, the children of this community, to help educate them and to work to continue to improve our school. There is also economic support for public education. Our students are an economic asset of our community. They have the capacity to advance our community. By educating all of our students, we are all better off. Additionally, our schools are a driver of property values and community growth in Guilderland. I respect the difficulties of the district in trying to run a fiscally responsible enterprise. I simply wish to add my voice and point out to the public that this is not about finding savings in needless or redundant programs or places. We're now cutting academics. The Model United Nations program is merely one example of those that are on the proverbial chopping block. In my opinion, when we cut academic programs that are popular and desired by the students, as demonstrated by their participation, we are offering less and becoming less as a school. Students get an excellent education at Guilderland and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. However, these cuts are taking us in the wrong direction. The only thing worse would be for it to happen again. I hope you will ensure that it does not. When we moved to Guilderland, the only thing I researched were the schools. The cuts, which I believe are being proposed, will lessen the school academically, which hurts the students and the community. I realize that many of you share my concerns. I'm skeptical of our ability to fix within the next several weeks what I perceive are the underlying issues requiring the difficult decisions that you face. In addition to the short-term budget issues, I hope the district is attempting to attack the underlying issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. I know it took us a long time to get to you tonight. Thank you. Okay, and I think now, I have lost track of where we are, Dan. Have you, are we on to the consent items? Okay. Can I?
Have to actually.
Nope.
Oh, the budget. Never mind.
Can't the budget come later? I'm just kidding. Okay.
Number 8. Skip that.
Andrew? Oh, Dan, my bad, Dan.
Sorry, my bad.
Superintendent's draft.
We order some pizza.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you everyone for being in attendance this evening for our first draft of the superintendent budget for 26-27. You've had an intro already from one of our guest speakers this evening, so we'll move from there. Overall on the agenda, what we're going to cover is an overview of the budget priorities and the development process that we did. We'll review the financial context of our budget development, There will be a partial summary of recommended changes for the 26-27 year and what the next steps are for this process. This slide shows exactly why we're here. We're here for our students of all ages in all of our buildings. One of the most important things to remember is as we develop the budget in challenging economic times that we have, this is really what we pull back on. And unfortunately, in many ways, we can't offer everything and do everything that we want to do and still come within the financial guardrails that we have within the state of New York and how we fund our schools, unfortunately. But I want you to know that when we look at making or proposing changes, we are always looking at the student. What's going to be best for students, what's going to have the least impact on the least number of students, because many of the changes, unfortunately, that we have to make will have an impact on students, and we know that. So we do very thoughtfully take that into consideration. Remembering our mission statement shall be the mission of the Guilderland Central School District to inspire all students to be active, lifelong learners able to achieve their highest potential in a demanding and ever-changing global community. Along with the vision, where we will provide for all a safe and welcoming environment where students, parents, and staff are joined in the pursuit of academic excellence and personal growth. Thus, we shall provide a rich and rigorous education for all learners so that upon graduation, they are poised, capable, and ready to meet the developments, challenges, and opportunities of the future. Our budget priorities, we did a thought exchange conducted in late January through early February. We had 425 responses. Stakeholders ranked their budget priorities with an average score. So the lower the number means the higher it ranked on the list consistently amongst the people that completed the thought exchange. Tier 1, maintaining low class sizes. Second most, preserving rigorous academic programming. The third tier, increasing paraprofessionals or teaching assistant support, continued support for students who require academic assistance, and preserving a wide variety of electives. Moving down the list, continued support for student social and emotional learning, and then finally, preserving offerings in the arts and athletic programs. That is from the thought exchange. Reviewing the 25-26 budget, we always start there. We look at the projections that were made last spring when Dr. Wiles was here, and what actually is happening within this school year. So what's actually transpired compared to what we thought might happen. We look at a detailed analysis of student needs and performance. What are the enrollment trends? What are the student academic, social, and emotional supports in place and the things that are needed? We look at the robust and varied opportunities for learning in and outside of the classroom. We then look at the analysis of the non-instructional costs. What are our facility needs, our transportation, our instructional technology, all of the behind-the-scenes things that happen that make our schools work. And then we look at the analysis of costs outside of our district control, specifically health insurance. Everyone across the country knows that health insurance costs are rising much, much faster than any other cost in the market at this particular time. We also have other employee benefits and contractual requirements, including salaries, things that are obligated by contracts, things that we have to do. We don't have immediate control over adjusting some of these things. In mid-February, when we did a budget where we looked at what do we currently have in place, plus what do we need or think we need to add for next year's budget, we had a $4.1 million gap between our projected expenses and our revenues, and that was our starting point for this year. Working with our district's leadership across the district, we've already identified $2.3 million in savings and, unfortunately, some reductions. The current budget draft is still about approximately $1.8 million short of a target balanced budget. So as much as you'll see tonight of what we've already attempted to address the gap, there are still things that need to be done beyond the budget that you'll see this evening. And I will turn it over to Dr. Ben Alstein.
Thank you very much. In this section, I want to share some of the background and larger context for the choices we're presenting. I think Derek Hoff captured it very well when he talked about the budget choices we make are part of a much larger structural challenges the district is looking at and trying to address for the long term. Our current year's budget went before the voters last May. It was $127.5 million. Roughly 3/4 of voters approved of the budget. The year-to-year spending increase was 1.88%. The associated levy increase was 2.22%. And this is the students and the staff that the budget supports. For the last 5 years, voter approval of the budget has increased year over year from 68% to last year's 74.8%. We look at this as a positive sign from the community of support for our work here and the work we are doing for our students. Again, as Derek said this comment, I think very well, that this is a community institution, right? We are trying to serve the students, and we are contributing to what we see as the community we operate within. There are 2 slides I'm going to share that I'm going to highlight as the most important. This one, which just shows our breakdown grade by grade for current year enrollment and projected year enrollment, because we have two simultaneous things with our enrollment. One, our net enrollment is slightly increasing or staying flat, but within that is a deeper enrollment crisis. So we're projected to go up 12 students next year, but within our current elementary school, we have 386 fifth graders and 288 kindergartners. So almost a gap, nearly 100 student gap within the elementary levels. And this is an updated version of a graph I showed last year, that if we group our elementary school students in 2-year bands, so K1, 2nd and 3rd grade, 4th and 5th grade, we can see we're still at a point where our 4th and 5th grades are declining, but they're pretty robust, but we're seeing meaningful drops in 2nd and 3rd grade, and especially our K1 cohorts. And we project this going forward because we know how many kids are born in the county and the district, and both of those numbers are trending downward, and there's a very strong correlation between births and kindergartners. 2023 birth data was recently released. That's that final middle number. So there were 297 babies born within our school district in 2023. Big drop from the pre-pandemic figure of 341, and this drop is not yet enrolled in our kindergarten. So we are seeing these declines that will show up in a few years. I think back to that slide I highlighted, we have those high levels of enrollment at the high school. Those students will be graduating, moving on, and those cohorts will be replaced with much, much smaller enrollments. Now, I'm going to switch to talking about revenue. About 2/3 of district resources come from our tax levy. So the tax cap is a critical starting piece in our budget development. Tax cap's been around for more than a decade. This is a state determination of how much levy a district can increase with the majority support of the community. And then any additional levy increase beyond that requires a 60% supermajority. So if a district is at or below the tax cap, it only needs a 50% plus 1 vote to pass its budget. If it seeks to override the tax cap, it needs 60% approval. Every district has its own specific tax cap, even though there's often the 2% figure thrown out. Because when we talk about the tax cap, certain expenses a district levies for are excluded from the tax cap, and there are other district-specific figures as well. One of those is the tax-based growth factor. This reflects how much our property wealth grew, so how much levy we can increase based on additional property value that came onto our books. But the critical largest one is capital expenditures net of state aid. So this is when we borrow money or we spend money on capital improvements, building projects, and those kinds of undertakings, we are allowed to levy additional funds to support those that are not part of our tax cap calculation. Last year, the district put forward a capital project that passed with very large support from the community, but that was projected to have a tax impact. Next year will be the first year that that comes onto our books. So our maximum allowable tax levy increase for next year is 3.42%, and that is driven by the difference between this year's capital expenditures and last year's, or next year's and this year's capital expenditures. The critical point to make when we're talking about the tax levy and the capital exclusion in a time of budget challenges is that we could not use these funds for anything else. All right, so the allowable levy for capital construction and debt based on capital construction can only be used for capital expenses. So we can't, levy to the cap and then say, well, we're going to spend that money on program. Right? That's not an allowable expense. It's spent on, in this case, most of it's the Future Ready Capital Project that the voters approved last year. So we want to really make that point clear that the exclusion is only for the capital project. But in the long term, the tax cap is posing a real challenge to school districts across the state. Our overall framework for public school spending in New York State is, here's the cost of educating a student, here's what the state says the local government can levy, and then the state will provide the rest through foundation aid. The state finally funded foundation aid fully, but hasn't really updated or changed the formula in almost 2 decades now. And this is a real challenge because expenses change, the structure of education change, the expectations and the requirements for public education change, the impact of student need changes. All of those we operate with each year, but those aren't updated in the formula. Last year, the Rockefeller Institute completed a year-long study of the foundation aid formula that was funded through the state budget. Their report provided legislators with what they called a menu of options for updating the foundation aid formula. The state has taken a few of those minor ones and updated some data, but by and large has not meaningfully updated the foundation aid formula itself, the cost of educating students in today's world. So if I said the enrollment slide was key slide number 1, this is key slide number 2. This is the cumulative increase in our health insurance costs, our salary costs, and our tax levy under the tax cap since 2015-16. The bottom 2 lines are very linear and have a clear trend of salaries far outpacing the tax cap. The third line, health insurance, shows COVID, right? So during COVID, no one went to the doctor, and then everyone went to the doctor. But if we sort of connected the first third of the line with the final point, we would see the linear growth of the first 2 lines. Health insurance expenditures are an incredibly large factor. For the second year in a row, our health insurance increases are larger than, last year was larger than our overall tax cap. This year it's larger than, other than capital expenditures, our entire tax cap is subsumed by most of our health insurance increases. Governor Hochul's 2016-17 state budget came out. Senator Fahy talked about this. It continues the full funding of foundation aid. It fully funds expense-based aid. It introduces a new UPK funding mechanism and a mandate that beginning in 28-29, every school district would have to provide UPK to every student whose parent requests provision of UPK. So there's a provision of pre-K to any 4-year-old upon parental request. We are not a foundation that's a district that's on Save Harmless. We are still on formula. But with those enrollment declines, it's in the long term much more likely that we come down to being Save Harmless. Those are the districts that often have just a flat or due minimum increases in their state aid. share this chart. This differs somewhat from what we were shared earlier. The first number is the numbers we used in our budget last year. The foundation aid is from the enacted budget. The other figures are from our calculations of projected building aid, the state's transportation aid, BOCES aid, per pupil aids. And then the middle column is what we expect as of the February database from the state to receive this year. The budget to actual expectations, there's about a $511,000 increase. That's a 1.25% increase. And then the executive budget proposal, based on the February database, has our foundation aid, all of our calculated aids. So we're seeing a 4.77% increase in state aid overall. Now to the cost drivers. As I mentioned, our health insurance increase for next year is $2.4 million. That's 10.8%. It's a lower percentage increase than last year, but still tremendously larger than the growth in either our tax levy or our state aid. We also have increasing special education costs, both in projected external placements as well as within district operations. Like many other districts, transportation is a financial challenge, so we have to increase our transportation expenses. Superintendent Mayberry referred earlier to everyone experiencing increased healthcare costs. We're also experiencing the same utility increased costs that consumers and our community is facing. You get your national grid bill and it's all of a sudden skyrocketing. We have those same things happening with our utilities and our expenses. And finally, the debt service. As I said, this is the money that's come on mostly for the capital project. With that, I'll turn it back over for what we're proposing.
Thank you. Now we're going to work on the 2026-2027 proposed changes. Starting off on our elementary grades, K2 class size and grades 3-5, estimated class size guidelines. So K2 is 18 to 23 students, 3 through 5 is 21 to 25. And those will be as they move into their next grade level as well. So the proposed change for 26-27, a net reduction of 2 sections based on enrollment changes in line with district guidelines, and reducing an additional 2 fifth grade sections exceeding class size guidelines at Linwood and Pine Bush. Those are classes that for the original budget for next year, we had proposed increasing a section in 5th grade for each of those. We have removed them from this budget presentation today. Here's our enrollment numbers at average class sizes. You can see what that does to the Linwood and Pine Bush grade 5 sections. It would keep the sections the same number that they have this year in 4th grade. That's what you're going to see in their 5th grade. So the average size of a 5th grade class across the district is 24 students. 4th grade is about 21 and a half. 3rd grade is just under 24. 2nd grade is just about 20. Grade 1 is 18 and kindergarten is 18.6. Starting off at the elementary schools, I just mentioned reducing the 5th grade bubbles at Linwood and Pine Bush. That would be -2 FTE or full-time equivalents. That's a savings of $187,100. Reducing art FTE based on the bubble reduction. So this is the art that would have increased had we added those 2 5th grade sections. You have a savings there. Reduction at GES reading staff by a half of FTE, which is a savings of just under $47,000. And adding 0.2 FTE for E&L services, which is $18,710. This is needed to cover mandatory services for our English language learners at this time. Continuing with elementary, eliminate 1st grade teaching assistants. That's an elimination of 36 hours, which is a savings of $281,460. Aid monitor hours at Altamont, Linwood, Pine Bush, and Westmere, 4.75 hours for a savings of $18,675, and that's based on current usage and needs that we have. Reduce tech liaisons at non-Title I schools from 2 per building to 1 per building. That's a savings of about $11,700. That would be the elimination of 3 teacher leaders as tech liaisons. Eliminate the Positivity Project, which has a cost of $25,271. That will inversely reduce BOCES aid in the following school year by $15,365. So the net savings there would be about $9,900. Eliminate enrichment supply budget, just under $4,500. The program is also no longer operating. The next section, eliminate co-taught Spanish, would be a 0.8 FTE, which is a savings of approximately $61,000. Reduce enrichment offerings, that is a 0.5 FTE, so that would be a savings of just under $47,000. Eliminate studio art at the middle school, which would be a 0.2 FTE, about $15,000 in savings. That's a program that occurs before school starts. World language teacher, 0.2, that would be an addition, approximately $15,150, based on enrollment and additional section needed at the 6th grade level. The double accelerated math, 0.1 FTE, that would be an additional cost of $7,575, and that would provide double accelerated math opportunities for our grade 8 students. Further, at the middle school, reduce co-curricular stipends. That would be a reduction of $36,962. More information is coming up. Eliminate the TV studio position. That would be a 1 FTE reduction, a savings of approximately $72,720. There would be also associated with that creation of a new stipend to continue the morning news at the middle school. Eliminate the summer receptionist position, which is a savings of just under $5,200. And ADI hubs for the FMS science program, that is $8,275, and that's part of our local share of a grant that is $54,231. So this was our commitment to doing ADI hubs for science. The maintain stipends at FMS, we still have an 8th grade advisor, Best Buddy, Chamber Strings, Jazz Ensemble, Morning News, National Junior Honor Society, Select Band, Select Choir, Student Council, in Yearbook. The cuts that are proposed in this budget is elimination of the Charlotte Award, Community Service, Fax Cares, Future Cities, Mask, Math Counts, Organic Garden, Peer Mentors, Stage Band, TV News, and Vocal Thunder. At the high school, we have a reduction of a science teacher, a 1.0 FTE, a savings of just under $94,000. Reduce social studies by 0.8 FTE, that's a savings of just under $75,000. Reduce art teacher level by 0.4 FTE, which is approximately $30,300 savings. Reduce a phys ed teacher by 0.2 FTE, that's a savings of $15,150. Reduction of music teacher, 0.2, another savings of $15,150. OPWDD transition specialist, 0.2 addition, that would cost approximately $15,150. This is something that we've previously contracted for, that service is no longer available. So we need this to help our special ed students transition beyond high school. World language teacher, a 0.2 FTE, $15,150 to meet section needs. Reduce math teaching assistant, 7 hours. We would be reducing the math teaching assistants from 2 positions to 1, a savings of approximately $51,750. Eliminate 1 library clerical position, that would be a 1 FTE reduction. That would be a savings of approximately $55,320. And reduce aid monitor hours, that would be a reduction of 10 hours, a savings of just over $77,000. Reduces 1 6-hour position and 1 4-hour position. Continuing with the high school, reduce co-curricular stipends, a reduction of $40,635. That will be on the next slide. The fall play does not run. That would be a $6,970 stipend savings. Reduce general high school supplies, software, books, and service lines, a savings of $31,300. Music professional services, $1,135. Those are for the increased fees to continue with the NISFA and the music theory trainings for teachers that are required for the programming that we offer. Yonder pouches, $8,200, purchasing for the incoming 9th grade class. The maintained stipends at the high school: Best Buddies, Chamber Choir, Chamber Strings, Class Advisors, International Club, Cultural Affairs, Jazz Ensemble, Key Club, National Honor Society, Student Government, and Yearbook. The proposed eliminated stipends are Alliance, Art Club, Chemistry Club, Fall Play, Feminist Club, Garden Club, Investing in DECA, Masterminds, Math League, Model UN, National Art Honor Society, Pet Band, Photography, SAD, Science Olympiad, Shakespeare Society, Students for Inclusion, Tri-M Music Honor Society, and VEX Robots. In high school, total registrations cost $1,250 to continue online access for AP registration and exam fees for our students. Business and AP course training, which is a requirement to offer the AP course, $3,070. That is to send the teacher to the Summer Institute. Focus supplies, $600. That was a $600 that was omitted from this year's budget. That should be in there to allow Focus to continue to run its program. School Links Pulse, a savings of $131 replaces Naviance, and it's a more effective software option. In athletics, athletic team reductions, approximately $51,138. Eliminate Mod 9 boys and girls soccer, Mod 9 girls basketball, Mod 9 girls softball, freshman football, freshman boys basketball, and freshman baseball. Tennis windscreens, $10,000. These existing windscreens are damaged and are not usable. This would be an increase of $10,000. Officials fees, you can see increase for boys and girls sports. These are to cover the increased costs associated with the officials' contracts. Special education, additional comprehensive skills program class. That'd be a 2.5 FTE addition for a cost of $233,875. This would create a third CSP program at FMS to meet the current enrollment projections of the students that we have. It would have a 1 FTE special education teacher, a 1.0 speech, and a half-time occupational therapist. Teaching assistant supports, 19.5 hours, would be reassigned from other existing district staff members. A special education teacher, a 1 FTE reduction, $93,550. That would be elimination of the currently co-taught instructional position through attrition. We have a retirement. We would meet the service needs of our students with shifting the current staff that we have. Special education continued, eliminate 5 6-hour special education teaching assistant positions. That'd be savings of $234,550. Declining need for these positions due to enrollment shifts. Eliminating these positions will reduce some individualized supports and potentially have some concerns across programs. Tuition for BOCES and out-of-district placements, an increased cost of $426,778. This is proposed based on where we believe student placements will fall when we do not have a program to educate them within the boundary of Guilderland Central School. So these are special needs students that have a program that goes beyond what we have the ability to offer at this point, and we would legally be required to fund. Reduce St. Madeleine Sophie special education teacher, 0.3 FTE. That would be a savings of $22,725. There is a reduction in special ed need at the elementary level, and we will cover the services in other ways within the district. Elimination of the director of the DEI position. That would be elimination of 1.0 FTE for a cost savings of approximately $182,410. We still plan to continue our DEI work. We still will be funding the TOSA position, which provides direct support to teachers and students in the classrooms and in the programs that we currently offer related to DEI. Eliminate a utility worker position. That'd be a 1.0 FTE, a savings of about $85,000. Create a director of special programs, is a half-time FTE to the general fund of about $70,100. That would be a total 1 FTE position administering UPK, our comprehensive skills program classroom, and MTSS, funded half from the general fund and half from grant funding. These are 3 areas that need support in order to move them forward. Our UPK program runs with our community-based partners, and this would help address the need that they have to help them move forward in positive ways for our youngest students within the district. Reduce instructional technology materials and service budget, a savings of about $34,000. Our comprehensive skills program, what you can see is the red line is the number of students. You'll see that it's increasing. The gray bars are the number of classes. We originally had 6. We are now up to 9 classrooms and approximately 80 students that we are serving. These are our students most in need within our district that stay in our buildings at this time. Universal pre-K, as Senator Fahy spoke about, the executive budget would raise the per slot fee $10,000 per seat and require that beginning in the 28-29 school year that we provide a UPK seat for any 4-year-old whose parent requests it. Currently, we do not have the capacity to do that, nor do we have enough seats for every 4-year-old in the district. That potentially could change in 28-29 if the budget passes with the UPK provision included within it. There is strong UPK interest in the district. We have 120 students in 7 classrooms at 5 different sites across the district. Last year, we had 148 students in 8 classrooms at 7 sites. And we're looking at bringing on additional partners to meet the needs of the UPK families that we have. Like I said, all of our UPK programs are not provided by the district. They're provided by our community-based partners. Our current plan for the 26-27 year is to have 160 seats in 9 classrooms at 8 different sites across the district. There's an additional demand, and we have options for an additional class or sites if they so be needed. The multi-tier system for support, the state recently issued new MTSS guidelines. We need to reevaluate and restructure our return to instruction for MTS processes at the district and building levels to better align with the state's emphasis on data-informed decision-making, supports for students' social and emotional needs and behavioral interventions, and academic interventions. We're working to coordinate our processes to align them across the buildings and provide the extra support for students when they transition from one building to another. The work needs to be coordinated at a district level to add coherence and consistency between buildings and levels. We have 5 elementary schools that feed 1 middle school that then feeds 1 high school. So we need to make sure that we are coordinating all of those services and interventions and supports that we provide to provide consistency for our students across the district. Recommended district-wide recommendations, DEI resources, an $800 addition for the resource library to support our equity committees, and supplies for the student voice committee. Eliminate the recycling coordinator, $5,856. The recycling market is such that this stipend was created at a time when that massive recycling was beneficial to the district. So this is when you bring in all those additional materials. This is not our paper recycling. This is those additional things that you bring from your house. That market now actually costs us money rather than save us money at this point. The 26-27 revenue budget, $131,577,885 is a 3.16% increase. The maximum tax cap for a compliant levy is $87,221,575 is a 3.42% increase in allowed tax levy. There is still a $1.8 million gap between the projected expenses and revenues as presented this evening. I want to remind you that the biggest cost drivers that we have, health insurance is up 2.4 million, special education is up 1.1 million, transportation 892,000, operations and maintenance, as Dr. Van Alstyne said, primarily due to energy increases, is up 827,000, in debt service for the oncoming capital project, $564,000. Options for reaching a balanced budget. Unfortunately, further reductions, the use of fund balance and reserves to fill in the budget gaps, additional state aid, should some be coming, and the fourth option is overriding the tax cap. On March 17th, which is next Tuesday, we'll have a budget question and answer session. We'll share additional updates from the school district leaders. We'll be here to answer questions. Thank you, school district, the rest of our team sitting in the back. I appreciate you being here as well and all of your time and energy to help us get to the budget that we proposed today. March 31st, will be the board budget workshop, will be the next workshop that we'll do. So next Tuesday is really a question and answer about the budget. March 31st is our next budget workshop. April 14th, the board will be adopting a budget in its final form. And the school budget vote is on May 19th. And that was also the election for our board members. The 26-27 budget focuses our mission while beginning a long-term effort to address the cost drivers whose growth outpaces our revenue. That, by the way, is a state and a national problem at this point. Increasing levels of student needs. While we may be getting some fewer students, some of those students do have greater needs than what we have traditionally seen over the past 10 and 20 years. Significant enrollment declines at the early elementary levels with eventual impact on middle and high school. So while we have more students at the middle and high school levels, our enrollment at our elementary levels is dropping, and they will eventually be feeding into the middle school and the high school over time. So right now we have some high class sizes at the high school and some at the middle school. So we're in a wait and see at this point because the populations are still high. That will change over time. One of the things I want to remind people is that budget year is challenging for staff, administration, the Board of Education, our community, and most importantly, our students and our families. The original budget, as I said, had a $4.1 million gap. Our administrative team has tried to close that gap in our budget process today. I want to be clear, the proposed changes are presented because we need to close the gap in order to propose a fiscally responsible budget for our community. There are many things that we want to keep, but we are just not able to do so under the existing market and economic conditions that we have. It's important that we come together as a district in productive ways to ensure that we finish the school year as positively as possible for all of our students. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I just want to be clear about what happens tonight. So we save our questions for next time, correct? Yeah. So thank you. Some of those things were hard to hear. I think all of us recognize it took a lot of time and effort on everyone's part, including the delivery of that information. So thank you so much. Before we continue on to, I think we're on to consent items. Since there are no Q&As right now, is it okay to allow our principals and our administrators to leave? Because they do very important work and they start their days very early. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blanca, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, Rebecca has a clarifying question, Dan, is that okay?
It's not as specific, I mean, I can wait till next week as well if you think it should wait. But just slide 8, you talked about how there was a 4.1 deficit budget to budget year to year. And you said that there was 2.3 million in savings from that 4.1, leaving us with the $1.8 million shortfall. Does that 2.3 million savings, is that encapsulated in all of the recommendations? And does it include the state aid of 1.9 million?
It includes the state aid that's presented on the slide. I don't have that in front of me.
So it does include that revenue?
It does include that revenue. Our state aid numbers differ from what was shared earlier because what was shared earlier is based on projected enrollment, not Bed's Day actual enrollment. So when they update the state database in February, and so they update the projected aid from what the runs say, and our enrollment was less than projected. So that's the source of the discontinuity between the original runs and what we're projecting.
Okay, just because, and I mean, again, we can wait till next week, but the 2.3 million savings that you're presenting, regardless of whether or not the projected state aid is 1.9 or 1.7 or 1, like that's not a very big deficit, right? Like there's not a big difference there. Whereas, the recommended cuts are significant.
Yes. I'm just pulling the summary slide up, but if you look at the cost drivers, there's $4 or $5 million in just those factors.
Do you need time to look into that? Because
I think we can save this for the rest of it for next week.
No, it's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our consent items. May I What, Tara?
No, I'm just, it's a lot.
I know, I'm
It's a
just
lot.
kidding. May I please get a motion to approve, accept the consent items A through D? Meredith, second. Katie, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, passes unanimous, 9-0. It's all you, curriculum and instruction, it's all you, Rachel.
Good evening. I have one textbook recommendation for your review. This is a textbook or a trade book actually that we have been using for years, but it was originally approved as part of an entire curriculum. We are now separating it from that previously approved curriculum and using it independently, which is why I don't have a copy of it, and the title probably looks pretty familiar to some of you who have seen it before, but it is The Tiger Rising by Kate DiCamillo for use in language arts, grades 3 through 5. And again, this was for your review this evening. You'll be asked for approval 2 meetings from now.
Thank you, and Dan, back to you.
All right. Thank you for allowing me to go to the NISCUS Winter Institute last week in Albany. And just one of the greatest things, Dr. Luis Cruz did our keynote speech, and he very focused on the fact that the education system in the United States is changing and has been changing, and we need to ensure and remind that everybody involved needs to be part of that leadership as we move forward. It's no longer just an administrator-based movement forward in the world that we're in. So encourages everyone to work together to move things forward in a positive way. And there was a lot of sessions on AI and the integration of AI as well. So thank you for allowing me to go to that conference. The next item on my list, Capital Region BOCES. Remember, their annual meeting is on Wednesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. So any interested board members should let the board clerk know that you wish to attend. It's an annual thing that we traditionally send some members to. So just want to keep that in mind. Next thing, the Superintendent's Conference Day is on Friday, March 20th. There are many sessions across the board for employees in every class that we have, and we will give you an update on the things that transpire at the board meeting after Superintendent's Day.
Great, thank you very much. Now it's board president action, I think, information, sorry. So we have the upcoming Guilderland Central School District Board of Education election on May 19th. Petitions are available through the district clerk for any district resident who might be considering running for the Board of Education. 44 signatures of eligible district voters are required based on 2% of those voting in last year's election. There are 3 3-year terms open on the board that will begin on July 1st, and I believe that's Rebecca and Kim and Peter. Okay, thank you. In order to be eligible to run for the Board of Education, nominating petitions with 44 or more signatures from qualified voters in the district must be submitted to the district clerk on or before April 20th, 2026 by 5 p.m. Anyone who has questions about the duties and responsibilities of a board member may contact the superintendent, board president, or any current member of the Board of Education. A candidate must be able to read and write, be at least 18 years of age, a qualified voter, and a district resident for at least 1 year prior to the date of the vote on Tuesday, May 19th. Further qualifications and information are in the packet available through the district clerk, Kim Tanaik. Okay, and then we have a list of policies here that are up for your review, right? Not voting, review?
Correct.
Okay, review. So we'll be voting on those at a later date. And now back to you, Andrew.
Thank you. I have a few items for your consideration tonight. The first are health and welfare services with neighboring schools providing services for residents of Guilderland School District who attend non-public schools within their boundaries.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept this agreement? Rebecca, second Peter, any questions or comments? Nope, all those in favor? Passes unanimously.
My next item are professional service agreements for provision of services to the district to train and prepare and serve student needs.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the service agreement? Meredith, second Rebecca. Any questions or comments?
I actually have a question.
Yeah, Kim?
The Educate to Empower contract is actually already signed, and the other ones aren't, so I didn't know if that made a difference or if it should be added in. Because that seems to. I've just never seen it
No, we added
before.
it. It should have been on. I think it was signed, I think it was given to be signed in error without it having gone on the agenda, but it's still,
Okay.
we're still okay.
Right. We didn't execute it yet. We just got it signed before, but.
No, I understand. I'm weird with signatures. Okay.
Thank you, Kim. All those in favor? Okay, unanimous?
I just lost my agenda when clicking on that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
You're on C.
Oh, we have a service agreement, provide services for bilingual evaluation.
Okay, motion to, approve the service agreement. Kim, second Peter. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
Thank you. The next item is an internship agreement for St. Bonaventure University to allow students internship and practical experience in our district.
Okay, motion to accept the agreement with St. Bonaventure. Nina, second Kelly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
Thank you. The next item is the resolution following up on the presentation from the last meeting for the vehicle purchase. This is the resolution to authorize the school bus and vehicle bond proposition to put the bond on the May ballot, and if voters approve it, issue debt for the purchases of these vehicles. This is a roll call vote, so
Okay.
turn it over to Kim.
Motion first.
Oh, yeah.
We have to, yes. Can I get a motion to approve the proposition? So first Katie and then second Tara.
Question?
Questions or comments?
We have to do this at this meeting, or
I would
can it
have
be
to
delayed at
confirm
all?
that. I would have to confirm that with bond counsel. I believe we can delay it. Is there an issue?
No. Just think, in light of all the information we heard tonight.
So I guess my comment on that, because that's a very good point. 2 points. One, this falls under the exclusion. So this would be excludable levy for the future. The second, the point that In-House made at the last meeting is by not purchasing conventional buses last year, we are okay, but if we go 2 years in a row without purchasing conventional buses, not even factoring in potential electric bus mandates, that really sets us up for falling off our maintenance, or our bus replacement cycle, which poses real challenges for maintenance, and we are already short-staffed in maintenance.
Meredith?
Have we priced hybrid buses?
I don't know that we have.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. Hybrid buses.
I don't know of many districts that offer hybrid buses, and I'm not familiar with the market.
Hybrids tend to be more of a mass transit than it does a school bus.
Okay.
Generally is why you don't see many at this point.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Blanca?
Oh, yes, aye.
Sadie? Aye. Kelly?
Aye.
Kimberly?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
Meredith?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Thank you. That's it. Next item is an emergency private transportation contract with the Raja Group for transportation in the afternoon to Charlton School.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the agreement with Raja Group? Nina, second Kelly. Any questions or comments?
I would like to abstain.
Okay, Kim would like to, all those in favor? Okay, it passes 8-1. Wait.
Zero.
Abstentions.
8-1 abstentions. Thank you. You threw me off there, Kim.
Thank you. My final item is our installment purchase agreement with BOCES. Just like we have a vehicle replacement plan, we have a Chromebook replacement plan that we follow each year, providing new or updated Chromebooks to various grade levels, and purchasing them now through BOCES, knock on wood with the global market, lets us get the machines earlier in the cycle to update them and have them prepared for the start of the school year.
Motion to accept the agreement to continue purchasing it.
It's an updated installment, this year's installment purchase with BOCES.
Okay, so first, Tara, second, Katie, any questions or comments?
This year's or next year's?
This is a purchase we make it in the spring for next year because when we made it at the start of next year, we've been severely delayed in getting machines.
But this is the
we
way
will not pay for it this year.
Right,
we would place the order, pay for it next year, and receive the Chromebooks.
And this is a 4-year agreement.
It's a 4-year. It's splitting the cost over 4 years. Yes.
Yeah. So
each year we have debt fault. We've created this cycle of using the BOCES installment purchase agreement, which lets us get aid on the purchases.
So we get 8 on
And each year we make a purchase. It's amortized over 4 years. And now that we've got it established, the 4-year, the one we finish paying off this year falls off next year. So the net increase is not nearly the cost of the purchase because we are paying a quarter of it and we've already have some of that payment going to the installment purchase plan that's ending.
Okay, I have a question. I'm in frugal mode right now, so you're experiencing frugal block. Are we assessing to make sure that we're not just willy-nilly replacing the Chromebooks, that they actually need to be replaced and we're not just spending money because it's time to tighten our belts?
It's about support. So I can tell you, and I can ask Dave Howell to come and share more details, but the service agreements and the screen protectors are all changed this year to be more frugal. So he found savings. This again, I'll ask him for more specifics, but I believe we bought 2 different levels of Chromebooks last year. We're buying 1 level this year.
My concern is that it's a 4-year agreement with everything that we've just heard. That's my concern.
So what are our options? Can we hold this vote until we get more information,
We can-
or do we have to say yay or nay right now?
This is the one that we have to approve it, and then BOCES board has to approve it. I believe, give me 1 moment to confirm.
Thank you.
We could act on it next week
I would
and
prefer
get
to
it to
wait.
them.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
then
I
we'll-
will ask Dave to come to next week's meeting and share information about the Chromebook
Thank-
purchase and our larger plan.
Thank you. I think, and if there are any, if there's any like additional information, specific information you'd like presented
Yes,
by Dave.
let us know in
let
advance.
us- Yeah.
You want that emailed to you? You want us to say now?
I
or-
think email.
Email is probably the best.
Okay.
If you email questions.
Thank you.
And then we can
Thank
share
you.
them, prepare them.
All right, thank you. I think we're on to superintendent action.
We are. So we're looking for an appointment for the election chair for the May 19th, 2026 budget vote. And we're looking to appoint Neil Sanders as the election chair.
Yay, can I get a motion to appoint Neil Sanders? Look, everybody wants to do it.
I love Neil.
All right, let's do Kim and Katie for old time's sake. All right. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimous. Great.
Okay, looking for a memorandum of agreement that the board authorizes the superintendent to execute the proposed memorandum of agreement between the Guilderland Central School, Guilderland Teachers Association, and Megan Weir.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agreement with the GTA? We've got Kelly and then Rebecca. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0?
Co-curricular club approval. Resolved, the board approves a request for a new co-curricular club at Guilderland High School, the National Business Honor Society. Advisors Joe McGrath and Michelle Swanginger for the 26-27 co-curricular club.
Can I get a motion to Kelly and approve, and then second Katie? Questions or comments?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, word. Go ahead, Kim.
I probably have the same question that a lot of us have, and I do understand that when we have a new co-curricular club, that they usually go 3 years, I believe, before they can actually apply for a stipend. But do we want to start approving new clubs when we're already taking the stipends from so many current clubs?
I agree. I
Because
had the
this
same
is,
question.
I see this as something that would definitely be applying for a stipend once that 3 years is up.
I agree. I think National Honor Society is on the chopping block, so how can we justify approving
It doesn't require a stipend teacher, though, does it?
It does not require one, but
But it
after
will.
the 3 years, if they run, then they can
It's not, I thought.
put in my,
Well, wouldn't we address that in
Doesn't
3
Yeah,
years?
can we
get
address that in
approved.
3 years down the road and just say, no, we don't have the money? I mean, is that a thing?
Oh, it's
I don't know.
I guess my worry, and I speak just for myself,
Mhm.
is that this is gonna be a club that gets going, and then after 3 years, if we say no, the club is done and the students are,
Well, why couldn't they continue the club without the stipend teacher, just like they had been doing for the past 3 years? Is there a requirement to have a stipend teacher?
I will say it puts the
At
teacher in a
four?
heck of a position, though.
I mean, if we're being brutally honest, this was an issue last year with a lot of the
Yeah.
teachers, and it came to us and we didn't know it was going on, where stipends were cut and people were upset. And we're still hearing from teachers who were upset about stipends or who didn't go back to the club because of a stipend.
I'd rather
There's
say no
no
now than
guarantee to
later.
have people even come in to do this if they decide. Like, I understand that it's in 3 years, but we just listened to 46 pages of prepping for the future.
I think it sends a confusing message, and I think that like holding it, because there's the precedent, even if we wait 3 years.
So what are our options? Are our options to hold it or to just, do we have to vote right now?
Could we go back to Joe McGrath and Michelle and talk to them about it? Because I do think it's great, you know, it's the business, and that we're trying to work up our business classes at the high school and recognize all the work that these students are doing, and they're doing great stuff.
But what would you
But
hope
so
to
was the
obtain from them?
So was the Music Honor Society.
But they don't
the
have a
Arts Honor
stipend. I
Society.
mean-
Not anymore, they don't?
No, but I'm saying they don't have a stipend,
We're going to approve the statement when it comes up.
Well, what kind of message also are we sending? Because we've approved every single other club that's come in front of us, and now all of a sudden, because
Right.
we're about to go into a fiscal difficult time, we're gonna say, no, your club doesn't get it. That is a horrible message to send to these kids.
I think it's worse to say that we know that we're going to have to cut some, and we know that we may very well be in a position to have this club start, and then in 3 years, we have to either take the money away or convince the teachers.
not
to
gonna give
bring
them the
it.
We're not
money.
taking
We're
money
not
away.
taking money away,
Well,
there
okay,
is
then
no
we-
money.
we may
So,
not have the
but
money
if
to
we're
continue.
honest up and upfront saying in 3 years, we may not have the money for
Right.
stipends.
Right.
So know that going into this,
Yeah.
you're probably not gonna get a stipend in 3 years.
I'd
That's a
like to-
very different
Yes.
situation
I'd like
than
to
saying, no,
table
you
this
can't have the club.
until
I feel like we should.
Yeah,
table
I
it.
agree. I think holding it for now is the better.
Okay.
So we're
I
gonna
think that
table that.
I think there needs to be a discussion with the teachers.
Maybe Tara's point was valid. Who would follow up with?
I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Dan.
We'll make sure it gets taken care of.
Well,
Oh, okay.
and we don't, because we don't know what the other clubs are gonna do. It's the stipend that's being eliminated, not the activity.
Right, we're not
Right.
closing
We're
the
not
club.
closing the activity, we're closing
Nope,
the
it's
stipend. We
just
don't
this-
know what the
right,
action will be from
proposed.
there.
And I would like to remind my former colleagues that for decades, elementary school teachers did clubs with no stipend. So I just want to, sorry.
They're not asking for a
It is,
stipend. This
you
is just
know.
a club.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
club to start. We can cross the bridge in 3
Yep.
years.
Yep.
We can continue the club
I
just
think
without the
it's kicking
stipend.
can
That's
down
their
the road.
choice.
Remember what happened last
We're
year?
not kicking the can down the road.
Yes,
All right.
we are.
It's not a
So I
requirement.
We're
I
dealing
think
with
we have a
stipends
point where
now.
we're going to table this. I'll
Yep.
get some more information. We'll have some conversations. We'll come back and we'll move on to the next thing, which is item D on my part of the agenda. It's the settlement agreement. The board authorizes the superintendent to sign the settlement agreement on behalf of the district to resolve a special education matter involving student 79015 of the terms and conditions as discussed.
Motion to approve the settlement agreement. Peter, second. Kim, any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0. Okay, so for me, it's adoption of the proposed 2026-2027 school calendar. We had that draft submitted earlier. Can I get a motion to approve? Kelly, second. Meredith, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0. And I just want to be clear, because some of us have been talking offline about the board meeting. What happened? Oh, you want to say
So
something?
now that you've approved the calendar,
Okay.
now all the other district calendars, like payroll and board meetings and all those other things can now be scheduled, and we can move forward with determining the dates of those and then get approval for that.
Dan stole my thunder. Perfect.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. It's almost like we planned that. All right, board committee reports. Audit?
We have not met since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And we don't have anything scheduled.
Okay, thank you. Business practices?
We have not met.
Okay, thank you. Communications?
We just met, we discussed ways to make sure that there's signage and information going out to the community, reminding them of where they will be voting and on the school budget. And also, we talked about the news. Well, we're going to wait till after this budget meeting to revisit the budget newsletter again to see what information needs to be included. And a reminder that we are going to be asking teachers for input on the Board of Ed awards for students coming up. So that will be coming forward, and we'll be looking for information from teachers.
All right, thank you. DEI? Oh, I was there. Well, Unita?
So we had our subcommittee meeting recently, and we went over different ways that we can help to be in touch with the needs of the community by reaching out to teachers and making sure that everybody feels a way to have an outlet to be heard. And then we have our full meeting next week on the 18th.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Policy? Peter?
We recently met. As you can see, you have a number of items for your review. For next time, we're waiting for some feedback on the AI, and we have an upcoming meeting on the 16th. Did I cover everything? I think so. Great.
Great, thank you. And the Wild West, board issues, I don't think we have any other public comments, right? Okay. Board issues, ideas, and sharing?
Just say the wild, wild.
The Wild West, that's what Marie used to say. Anybody? I would just, go ahead, Peter.
I just want to mask at the middle school this past weekend with Newsies Junior. Wonderful show. Rooms were packed, certainly, I think, every single night. I know I was there Friday evening, but great job to all of them. And Mr. Laster, nice job.
Yeah, right.
Oh, did you have a cameo appearance this year again?
Face.
Big one, a whole song.
My favorite was still during Lion King when you had a cotton or a coconut situation. All right. Now, I would like to piggyback on that, Peter, and encourage the community to please come out and see Frozen, the musical, which will be taking place Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. We have a brand new Saturday matinee. And Sunday matinee. The matinees are at 2:00, and the Saturday matinee, you may have noticed we were in the Times Union because we have an ASL interpreter. So please come out and support our students and also support all of our volunteers. Peter's wife, and I hadn't realized that until this morning, my daughter's been referring to her as the helpful queen. Is one of the several parents who have been helping backstage, and also thank you to Andy Maycock, who is there right now, and all his great work, and John Fatuzzo, and it's endless, and Mr. Hernandez. So please come out and support all their hard work. Anything else?
I just wanted to thank the FMS community because they came out in droves. We did an Amazon wish list for the first time for our teachers and our staff. And I just about had a heart attack because it was dropped at 8:23 on Monday morning, and I didn't know. And within the first 11 minutes, 72 out of the 90 items were already purchased. And so we continued to add to the list. And I did have to convince my husband many times that it wasn't mine. Sorry. But it was like a lot of the teachers got just so many supplies and so many things. And I mean, we did, and I'm the only one that saw it, and I did ask what they spend their personal money on for supplies, and it just, we all know it happens, but it put me over the edge a little bit. But I just want to say a huge thank you to our community. They came out just and rocked this list.
That's wonderful. Thank you for organizing that too. That's great. Anything else? All right, everyone have a great night.
Close the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion? Kelly. Second, Katie. All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay.